Hello, one and all. It's your boy, Alternative Voice again. I'm out for a midnight stroll and I decided to take you guys along with me. Okay. Donald Trump lost the popular vote twice, both in 2016 and in 2020. He is a one-term president. He has been indicted on 91 felony counts, including a major breach of national security at Mar-a-Lago. Who knows who got a hold of that shit? He has not only praised, he has praised not one, not two, but three communist dictators. Vladimir Putin, Xi Jinping, and Kim Jong-un. On top of that, he also took the time out to praise a Islamic terrorist group, Hezbollah. He has called for the termination of the Constitution. He tried to overthrow the United States government. He freed 5,000 Taliban. He abandoned the Kurds to the Turks. And finally, he has said more ignorant things than any man who has ever run for president. Oh yeah, he also tells about 21 lies every day. Despite this, millions of people still support him. And the more outrageous and wild he gets, the more these supporters in question love him. Now, not every person who voted for Trump falls into this category. But there are enough people who think he can do no wrong and worship him as a god. I have heard several evangelical televangelists refer to this man as the Messiah. It's becoming quite common among crazy Christians. On top of that, well, crazy so-called Christians. On top of that, there have been a growing number of rabbis who think he is the Messiah. And it's really scary and really quite terrifying because Trump, without this support base, is nothing but a loud, obnoxious voice that just spits out a bunch of stupid shit. But the reality is that he has a lot of followers, a ton of them. And at the snap of his fingers, he managed to get 20,000 people into Washington, D.C., so he could lay siege to the Capitol. He could have stopped that at any time, but he didn't. And his followers went all the way for him. And after that terrorist attack, it wasn't a riot, it was a terrorist attack. Well, it was both a riot and a terrorist attack. The worst riot the United States has ever seen. I mean, the U.S. Capitol has not been under siege at that point since 1812. Or was it? Oh, wait, scratch that. It was 1814. But anyway, the issue facing us today is that, as I said in my previous video, we are facing a god. Trump is literally God to millions of people, and they will follow him no matter what he says or does. And what's really scary is that 20% of the people who showed up on January the 6th to lay siege to the Capitol were veterans. They've got training, they got weapons, and they know how to use them. And could we be facing a civil war? Possibly. But it's like Trump's is, as I said before, probably the most idiotic person to ever make a grab for the White House, let alone get in it. But the reality is that I will give him this. He understands human psychology, and he knows how to rile people up. He is very good at that. And he is also a very skilled con man. And what is going on here is our democracy, our republic, our freedom, our way of life that has existed for more than has existed for since 1776 is on the line. And we got to fight for it, people. We really do. You do that by voting. You do that by informing people. You do that by, making videos like this one. I have made a bunch of videos like this one because I'm not going to quit. I am fighting for America in the best way I know how. And I know I don't have that, like, thousands or millions or whatever of views. But as long as I have breath in my lungs and a heartbeat, I will continue to fight. And, see, what you gotta understand is that, as I said before, Trump understands human psychology. We humans don't like to admit this, but we are apes. Like chimpanzees, like orangutans, like gorillas. If you observe our closest cousin, the chimpanzee, as Jane Goodall said, she compared him to a chimpanzee on display. Displays can get pretty wild. They'll shake branches, literally throw shit, scream, sometimes even grab little babies and baby chimps and smash their heads up against rocks. But the crazier the display, often, the more the other male chimps will follow this said alpha chimp, and they will do some pretty atrocious things under his leadership. And see, the problem is that we are not only up against human psychology, we are up against a god, as I've said before. And the reality is that Trump, if he gets into office, people can keep comparing him to Hitler, but his second term will be more like Joseph Stalin's reign. He's going to have a complete purge. He is going to throw a bunch of people out of office, and he is going to appoint new people more in tune with his ideas. You see, the thing is, the number one thing Trump is going to be looking for, in fact, the only thing he's going to be looking for, is loyalty. And he has a lot of loyal people that will follow him to the end, and they're very stupid. I mean, you can check the link in the description box about all these crazy Trump supporters. These lunatics will follow him into the very gates of hell, as I said before, no matter what he says or does. And the problem is that we cannot reach these people. They will still vote for him, but we can. But if we can reach just one person and convince them not to vote for Trump, you've done a great thing. If this video can convince one person not to vote for Trump, I'm glad I made this video. And I don't care if it goes viral, although I would like for it to, so I could reach more people. If I inspire someone to convince someone not to vote for Trump and to vote for Biden, this video will have had its effect. And I just, it's like, I've been called a commie and all that stuff. And let me tell you something. I own a Confederate flag. I am a Second Amendment advocate. I am a very hands-off government kind of guy. I support free enterprise and free trade. But anything not Trump these days is communism. And that's just the way where the bar is set now, you know? And what was really interesting to me in 2020 is during the George Floyd protests, you know, that whole Lafayette Square thing. What really got to me was when Mattis spoke out. I had been praying he would do that all along, ever since he left office. I know Trump likes to say he kicked Mattis out, but the reality is that at best he got somebody else to kick him out, because Trump didn't have the balls to call Mattis himself and tell him his departure date had been moved up, let alone go and confront him in person. He had one of his little errand boys do it. I forget which one it was, but Trump did not have the balls to tell Mattis, "You're fired." But we the people, had the balls to tell Trump, "You're fired." And, but I'm trying to make sure we don't rehire him. Because because if you think it was a wild ride in 2020, well, it's 2016 to 2020, you ain't seen nothing yet. And as I was saying about Mattis, when he came out against Trump, I'd always wondered, because Mattis has a pretty big cult following in his own right. And I was very curious to see how people, particularly veterans, because everybody was so happy when Mattis was made Secretary of Defense. I know I was. And when he said President Trump, he said, quote unquote, "President Trump is the first president in my lifetime who does not try to unite the American people, does not even pretend to try. Instead, he tries to divide us." He said some other things. He basically said Trump is making a mockery of the Constitution, and that we were witnessing the effects of immature leadership. I apologize for not being able to remember the quote in its entirety, but I managed to basically explain to you what it said. And Trump, unsurprisingly, fired back at Mattis, ranting about how some people said I shouldn't give him a second chance after Obama fired him. Actually, no. Everybody thought that, including me, thought that was one of the few good decisions made by Trump, you know? And, but, it's, because I have high respect for Mattis. I hope one day I can meet him and shake his hand. They wouldn't let me in the military because I had autism, but damn it, I would have loved to have served under him. And, but still, it's like all these people who actually worship Mattis as well as Trump denounced him, said he was a communist, an undercover Democrat, even a pedophile. And it's like these allegations were baseless, but attacking Trump like that was blasphemy. See, back in Stalin's USSR, Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, in case you're half as dumb as Trump is, casual jokes against Stalin were treated as treason and dealt with as such. You would either be shot or deported to Siberia, where you'd be starved or worked to death in a gulag. But, you see, Trump is not going to be an American Hitler. At best, he's going to be an American Mussolini. But I'm not going to disparage El Duce like that, i.e. Mussolini, like that. No, I'm not. But, what we are dealing with now is probably the closest thing to Idi Amin that we're going to get. Because Idi Amin was barely literate. He took control of Uganda, and he was as xenophobic as Trump is, and racist. And he was throwing people out, and he just, genocide people, grossly mismanaged the economy, and turned the once thriving nation of Uganda into a cesspool. And he also launched a disastrous war with Tanzania, which ended his reign. But that's neither here nor there. And it's just these, as far as these crazy Trump supporters go, you can find out all about them in the description box. And I hope you watch those videos, because we are dealing with a crazy man and equally crazy followers. Trump is a cult leader. And even though he's not in office anymore, he still wields a lot of power. And that makes him extremely dangerous. Well, that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Be good, y'all.